What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today we are actually going to be talking about the Travelling Ink Pot by Visconti. So the Visconti Travelling Ink Pot, ink well, whatever you want to call it, is something that I've been getting asked about quite frequently lately, which is kind of weird, but I suppose it's not really talked about that much. So I thought, when I got my Visconti Homo sapiens, which I have not done a video of yet, but I will, when I bought that, I thought, why not? If I'm going full Monty with that pen, I might as well do it and do it right. So I picked this up. You can find this about retail price anywhere between $60 to $70 American, which puts that to about 75 to like 85-ish Canadian, which is more than I think this is actually worth. But you are paying for the brand name. So basically with anything, very brand name-ish, you're going to be paying more. But, spoiler, I do kind of dig it. I don't think this is a necessity, but I do kind of like it. But we're jumping too far ahead things. So at the top of the cap, this is all plastic, by the way. There are special edition ones that are made out of different material, but this is the everyday run-of-the-mill one. So the top here, you have the Visconti logo, a kind of chrome colored ring just on the edge of the cap. Around the top of the barrel, you have something that is not in English, I'm assuming Italian, which I will not even attempt to read, but it says Traveling Ink Pot on the other side. You have the Visconti logo here, and then down below at the bottom, it says a lot of stuff not in English, so again, not going to even attempt it. Here you have a clear ink window view with a line in the middle, basically marking the max line. So it says do not overfill. So when you're putting your ink in, this is as high as you can go, which I'll explain why in a little bit. Then you have another kind of chrome colored ring here, and the rest of the inkwell that just has the same black plastic as the top. And then on the bottom, there's nothing there. It's slightly indented, but there isn't anything there. If we flip back to the top here, you'll notice there's a bit of a kind of a gap there, and that's because there's a lid inside the lid. So if I pull this off, which just basically pulls like this, inside here we have a little like piece of cloth wick or something like that. It just kind of fits inside the lid. This you can use if you're on the go to kind of clean off any excess ink that does hit your grip section. Although this is designed so that your grip section does stay relatively clean. But this is here for anything extra. I did use it just once to try it out. It works pretty well. It's very absorbent material. But I'm going to try and not use this as often as I can, just to try and keep it clean, just for emergency sake. So then the rest of the lid here, if you pull it off, you have the lid, which is what that thing is sitting in. And then you have the inside of the barrel, which is clearly empty. I did just flush it out, which is why you can see a bit of water on the inside. So then this essentially goes in here. And on the inside, which it's too hard to show you, on the inside here where this black line is, black section is a rubber kind of neck on the inside that you will feel when you're pushing the lid closed. Which, by the way, handy dandy tip, when you do clean out the inkwell, which is as easy as literally just putting water in it, giving it a good few shakes, and then dumping it out. So pro tip, put a little bit of silicone grease along here, not because this is going to spill, but because of that rubber necking on the inside. When you go to push down the cap again, it will become very hard to close it if there isn't a little bit of silicone grease on it. With the Visconti Travelling Ink Pot, you will get this little eyedropper guy. Essentially, he's so that you can like fill it up with your ink, squirt it in the bottle, fill it up with your ink, squirt it in the bottle, and keep doing that over and over and over again. I've never actually used this. I personally just use an ink syringe because it's a lot faster than using that. But I will just for fun sakes later in the video. This obviously does have kind of a maximum size capacity with pens, and it's also going to have a minimum size capacity with pens. And what I mean by that is the grip section. So if I take this Pilot Metropolitan, which has one of the smallest kind of necks of like grip sections rather, if you place the pen into the pot, and if you push too hard, you see how it kind of goes all the way in? You can technically fill the pen because it, you do have this in here, but I don't know if I would trust that seal. It feels pretty good if you push it in, but I don't trust it, so I wouldn't recommend getting this inkwell and using it with anything smaller than a Pilot Metropolitan, because essentially you're going to have to push it here, and if I take off the body, I feel like I'm going to be able to push it all the way in, and I feel like right now I'm gingerly pulling it out because I feel like there's a high possibility of you ending up pulling the cartridge converter out and not the nib unit from the traveling ink pot. So can you use it for something as small as the Pilot Metropolitan? Yes. Would I recommend it? No. So grip section, anything smaller than a Pilot Metropolitan, definitely not. Otherwise you could run into some serious issues. A pen like the Lamy 2000, just pop her in there, give her a good old flip. Absolutely, you can use it. Lamy 2000 is probably one of the better ones to use because there is no defined grip section, so you can literally go as far up or down as you want. So absolutely go bananas with that one. Got the Pelican M800, M805 technically. So you pop this guy in here. Oh yeah, snug as a bug in a rug. You could definitely fill that up. The reason why I'm flipping it over every time I pop in a pen is because that would be how you fill it. So if I take the Aurora Optima here, let's say you've got your ink filled all the way up to this line. Take your pen, dip it nib first until you feel a good amount of resistance. That means that you have that rubber neck that's in there, that seal around the grip section is going to be good to go. That way, when you flip it upside down so that all your ink here now envelops the nib, when you operate your piston or your cartridge or whatever it is to suck the ink into the pen, you are not displacing too much ink here so that the pressure isn't too much. And that's why there is that fill line, because you do have to then put in a pen. So definitely don't overfill it, but that's why you put the nib in like this, you flip the tube upside down, and then your ink completely covers your nib and the feed and all that kind of stuff. So that's how you would fill it from there. Aurora Optima certainly fits. Another popular pen is the Lamy Safari. This has an odd grip section. It isn't the typical round one. You see how it has these two cutouts. So when you put the nib in here, you really got to give her a good squeeze. I'm going to test this one again when I do fill the barrel, but just dry testing feels pretty good. You may actually be able to get away with it. Like I said, I'm going to test that again once I put some ink in here, aka water. And then, of course, the whole reason why I got it, the Visconti Homo sapiens. So you pop in your pen, which of course it's almost like they knew. Flip it over and you're good to go. With a pen like this, with it being a vacuum sealer, vacuum pen, so basically unscrew the back end of the knob, and you've got that piston rod. So TWSBI Vac 700, TWSBI Vac Mini, because of the pressure it does create before it snaps off, I would be a little bit careful if you're going to use any vacuum filling pen with this, because it's rare, but I've heard it happen where when you create too much pressure, this will actually fly off of the pen. So Never happened to me, and I've used it many, many times to fill this. What I do is I grip 2 fingers on the traveling ink pot and 2 fingers on the pen and hold it like this. So that way when I operate the piston and shove it back up, there's no risk of this flying off whatsoever. You can do it a little bit slowly if you want so that you can really double make sure. But there's definitely, you know, I've done it many, many times and there's no issue with it. So you can certainly use it with vacuum filling pens. To show you, you know, I do have a container of water here. You can take the provided eyedropper and suck up some water there. But as you're going to see, it would take you a very long time to fill that. So I like to use something like this, a blunt-edged, blunt-tipped, just basically needle, syringe, whatever you want to call it. So I'm just sucking up water into my syringe, and this has about 6 milliliters of water in it. So if you can see the needle here, we'll fill it up. And I am at the line. And how much do I have? I have 2 milliliters left in here. Spill the water back in there. So that then tells me that this will hold about 4 milliliters of ink. Then once you have it full, you can put the top back on, and you will feel a little bit of resistance while you do that. Again, it's making that seal so that it becomes essentially proof. So, you know, upside down, you can see the water, you know, sloshing around in there. Nothing. Doesn't leak, which is great. You don't want it to. But just for curiosity's sake, pop that guy out. I want to know if this actually works. So just going to take off the body of the pen here. Pop this in. I don't want to tip it over. And let's just see. All right. So, pen fans, absolutely you can. You can actually even see the bubble, the air bubble coming out of the nib, because the water is now saturating the feed. That's awesome. You can use the traveling ink pot for a Lamy 2000. Lamy 2000. Where is my brain? The Lamy All-Star, even though it has a funky grip. Very good to know. So I'm just going to take the rest of the water. You are going to have to be careful when it's open. When there's nothing in here, it's open. It will just pour right back out. So while you're filling, you do have to be a little bit mindful to, just like with a bottle of ink, you know, recap it so that you don't have any ink spillage, because that would suck and there would be 4 milliliters of ink flying everywhere. But I really like the size of it, because that way you can, if you want to, you know, put it in a pen case. So I have, it's almost like I'm branded on this video. I'm not. The Visconti 3-pen pouch case here. Just dropped it again. You know, it'll fit right in there alongside your pen. So I have the Sailor Pro Gear 4 Seasons here, Sailor 1911, and the ink pot right here. If I were to take a 10-pen case, so this is the Aston Leather 10-pen case. If I were to pop this in little sleeve sections here, it fits nice and comfortably with no risk of falling out. So I like the size. It's almost like the size of a slightly bigger pen. So I mean, here's the size of the Visconti Homo sapiens. Here's the size of the traveling ink pot. So around, it's not that much bigger. So it does fit in a lot of pen cases, which is nice because it's for travel, right? And that brings me to my next point, is why bother? Why would you get it? What's it good for? If you travel a lot and you need to take ink with you and you don't like taking cartridges and you don't like taking bottles, then absolutely, this is something that's pretty cool. Is it a necessity? No, I don't think so. But I think it's decent. I think it's cool. I like that I have it. It does come in handy when I go up north to my cottage, that I don't have to bring either so many pens, so that I don't have to like feel like I'm going to run out of ink anytime soon, and I don't have to take like bottles and things like that, which especially in the winter, I always get nervous bringing glass bottles with me, because I mean I can't show you because I'm in the basement, but it is snowing like a banshee outside right now. By the time this goes up tomorrow, it won't be, but currently it is. So would I recommend the Visconti Travelling Inkwell? Absolutely. Is it a necessity? No. Is it slightly overpriced? Probably, but again, you're paying for that brand name. It is convenient, but I'm sure you could probably just put them in ink vials, but it's up to you. So yeah, that's my opinion on this bad boy. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up. If you really like the video and haven't yet done so already, do hit the subscribe button. I make videos every Monday and Friday with the occasional Q&A on Tuesday. If you want to hit this little circle thing here, you can subscribe. And don't be afraid of that comment section below. I'm really appreciating the fact that all of you are kind of jumping in there and starting to answer each other's questions, as it is becoming a little bit more difficult for me to get in there as often as I would like to. But guys, as always, I'll see you next time. Bye.